Suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries.
The United Nations.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
And in the year 2000, in my own home state of California, Lockheed Martin paid 100 people in California $1,000 to eat a dose of perchlorate every day for 6 months. Perchlorate damages thyroid function and can cause mental and physical developmental problems in fetuses and children. EPA announced the proposal to develop a comprehensive plan for human testing of pesticides. Under this proposal, pesticide companies would be able to pay people to ingest pesticides. Intentionally exposing humans with pesticides, the Nazi experimentation on human beings.
It took the power of the United States government even to find out these facts. And since our taxes paid for this investigation, let's get our money's worth. Morgan is the largest group. Then there is the Strong Kuhn Loeb group. The Mellon interests, which have Westinghouse. DuPont with General Motors. And then there is Rockefeller. And 3 other groups, making up a grand total of some $82 billion assets in 1945, exclusive of government-owned plants, which they are now busy buying up cheap. These assets represent control over plants, railways, banks, and most important of all, jobs. 8 groups dispose of over 30% of all the assets in the United States. These 8 groups operate through a screen of 106 corporations, and some idea of their power can be had by seeing in scale how many firms own the rest. These 250,000 corporations exclude the million-odd small businesses in America. 8 groups control the American economy not only because of their concentration of wealth, but through their strategic ownership of basic industries. Every consumer and every businessman in America hands over a percentage of their earnings to these 8 groups, often without knowing it. This is what is meant by big business. This is what is meant by their control of American economy. Big business is international. There were similar groups in Germany, Japan, Italy, England, France, Holland, Belgium, Spain, and smaller countries. Through colonial rule or subservient governments, they control raw materials and markets in most of the world. This is the big league in world business. Its name is imperialism. It leads to war, as Hitler's story shows. For Hitler had a dream that his big business should dominate the world. He called his dream the New Order. Foreign big business was weakened during the war, and today American big business is the strongest. And they have a dream to dominate the world. They call their dream the American century. The American century means the century of big business instead of the century of the common people.
because we were up on the highway. We saw the cloud of smoke and the fireball rise above the freeway, and that's when we knew what direction it was coming from. We knew it was in the vicinity of the Pentagon, and that's when we arrived here on the scene. Should say that as soon as we got here, there were flames again on the south side of the Pentagon, and a short time later, I would say,
And that's when the plane caught my eyes. When this plane is bearing down on me, I level eye contact. I'm hypnotized standing up there. I'm not having time to react. All I'm looking at is this plane, and it's getting bigger, bigger, bigger. Lord, I can't let you take over. And I drove under my desk.
Anyone who has an insurance policy, a bank deposit, or a share of stock is helping to finance our business system. A constant stream of savings dollars must flow into big and small business each year. These dollars help to buy the land, the buildings, the tools and equipment, and create new job opportunities for our expanding population. The goods we produce are distributed to main streets all over the country. While the Main Street of today doesn't look much like the Main Street of Jonathan's time, the principles of our business system remain the same. For businessmen still compete with one another for the consumer's supply of spendable dollars. And Mrs. Consumer is still mighty critical of everything she buys. Uh-oh, competition. The management of every business has a continuing problem to improve their product to stay ahead of competition, or else.
Okay, men, this is it. Quick Chill's got the ball. We've got to get it back. Give them that new product play. More style, better quality, new features, and at the right price. Hit the line, men. Let's go.
Micrometer, wrench, file, caliper, slide rule.
In addition to creating a better product, management develops new tools and more efficient methods to help workers turn out more boxes to sell at a price Mrs. Consumer will pay.
The United Nations.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. Suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries.
This is the big league in world business. Its name is imperialism. It leads to war, and in America hands over a percentage of their earnings to these 8 groups, often without knowing it, story shows. For Hitler had a dream that his big business should dominate the world. He called his dream the New Order.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat.
The United Nations.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat.
The United Nations.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat.
The United Nations.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat.